Hello everyone, and welcome back to Autodesk Inventor tutorials. In the previous video, we talked about the extrude feature. In this video, we are going to dive into revolve feature. And even when you look at the create menu on the top, you can see that extrude and revolve are next to each other. All the other features are smaller icons because extrude and revolve are very similar. They just require different information. Actually, sometimes you can create the same part with extrude and you can create the same part with revolve as well. Sometimes it just requires more clicks, and so one of them can be the most efficient way to design it. But of course there are certain applications that requires a certain feature, extrude or revolve. So which one is the best for your design? That requires some practice, and as we do more exercises you will have a better understanding about that. So we talked about extrusion a lot in this tutorial, and in the previous video we talked about it in more detail. Let's just draw a rectangle and apply an extrusion real quick and finish that 2D sketch. Now we have this sketch, and let's extrude this. And we're not worried about the dimensions right now. Let's say we created this basic 3D object. Let's go back and activate this, change the visibility of this XY plane so I can just explain it better. If I go to extrusion and if I just drag and kind of drag this extrusion up and down, you see that it is changing normal to the plane that we created this on. So I just, for example, I can go to the other side, I can go to this side. So when I use the extrusion, it is working on a plane. When I'm adding material, it is adding the material based on the plane. That is the information that extrude feature requires. So if I delete this and change the visibility back to unchecked for XY plane, if I want to create a revolve, select XY plane. Let's say I draw a rectangle here and finish that sketch. And when I click on revolve, now notice that it asks for an axis. So it is already selecting this sketch automatically because this is the only closed geometry I have right now. So right now, the only red arrow I have, which requires information, Inventor is asking for more information there, that is the axis. So it's asking me to select an axis. So I can select this x-axis. Now, notice that the x-axis is highlighted with yellow. So it is revolving the sketch around the x-axis. So if I clear that selection here and select the y-axis, now it is revolving this geometry around the y-axis. So let's just click OK and then go back to revolution and see what we did. Right now, this arrow which shows the direction of the revolution, right now it's gray color, which means that it's not active. So I can click on that and activate it. That way I can kind of experiment with what I did. So I can just drag and kind of like roll back this geometry. I can remove the material. And notice that you can see the 3D sketch that we created. And as we selected the axes we want to add material around, which is the axis right here, and now it is just adding material around that axis. And you can, of course, manually enter the degrees here and determine how much material you want to add. For example, you can change this to 275. And you can, of course, go to 180 and the model will update instantly. Or you can just enter 360 degrees, or you can just click on full here, which is going to complete the 3D object to 360 degrees. And of course, we have similar options here. You know, this default option here is adding material around the axis in this direction, and you can just do it flipped. But let's just change this dimension so it is going to be more clear. So let's just change the 270 degrees, for example. Right now, it is adding that 270 degrees of material on this direction. If I click on flipped, it is adding on the opposite direction, or I can do it symmetrical. So now it is adding material in both sides symmetrically, or I can do it asymmetrical, which means that it is adding material. Say this one is 70 and this one is 135. It is adding material based on the values that I enter, or I can just click on full. Similarly with the extrude feature, right now, since this is the first 3D object we are creating, and this is the first sketch we are applying modeling action to, right now some of the options are not available to us, like cut feature, because there's nothing to cut. I haven't created a 3D object yet. So let's just finish this, and let's just talk about the second revolution now. Let's see what we can do with that. So if I click on Start 2D Sketch, I have to select a plane. I can, of course, do a sketch on this face, but I want to kind of do something, create a sketch in the middle of this 3D object. For example, YZ plane is going through the middle of this part, or XY plane is going through the middle of this part. I can't really work with XZ plane because it's at the bottom, it's not going through the middle. So let's work with YZ. Right click, New Sketch. Now I am working in the middle of the 3D object. So I kind of want to see what I'm working with. I want to see the sketch I'm creating. I can always right click and hit Slice Graphics. That is going to remove that material that's blocking my vision. This is just a toggle. It is not temporarily, it is not permanently removing it. It is temporarily removing it in the sketch mode so I can see what I'm working with. And this is also F7 on your keyboard as a shortcut, and it's a toggle. You can kind of turn it on and off. So now I am removing the material so I can create a sketch there. So let's go to the right click menu and click on project geometry. And let's click on right on a view cube so we can look at it directly. I can select this side here. It kind of selected the face, but I want these edges as well so I can manually select them separately. And let's draw a rectangle here on this side. And I want to dimension this. Say this one is 5 mm, and here this one is 5 mm, but instead of manually entering it, I'm just gonna click on this value that I've already entered. And then I'm going to dimension here. Let's say this is 5 mm times 2. So it is going to change accordingly every time I update the 5 mm if I want to in the future. So let's finish this sketch. And now let's click on Revolve one more time. Notice that I have more selections this time. And also it did not select it automatically for me because there are multiple options. I can select this or I can select this here. So let's select this inside the rectangle we drew here. And now it is asking for axes. Now I can select, let's see, sometimes it is not automatically activated, so you can go ahead and activate it. This blue underlying color kind of appears here, telling you that it is active right now, waiting for you to select an axis. And just don't be afraid to select the wrong one, and because when you select the wrong one, it's not going to make sense. I'm trying to select x-axis, it's not letting me because it wouldn't make sense to revolve something on the x-axis right now. I'm selecting y-axis. This looks like it makes sense because all I have to change is instead of joining material, I have to cut material so I can create this shape. But just for an exercise, just as an exercise, let's click on Z-axis, see what happens. This obviously does not make sense. So this maybe for a certain application, maybe you want to do something like this, but right now that's not what we're trying to do. So let's clear the selection again, go back to y-axis and change the join material to cut material. Now we just created this 3D object. Well, I kind of want this longer, so let's go back to sketch here and maybe dimension this 25 and then dimension this to 80. That way it's going to be longer. It's kind of a dumbbell shape or maybe wheels of a toy train or something. But obviously we could have created the same thing with the extrusion too. We could have created the same thing in extrude feature, but we used revolve. We used less clicks. We saved more time. And like I said, as we go into more complex geometries, it's going to make more sense. We're gonna you're gonna see the clear connection between what you need and what feature you want to use. But another detail that I want to talk about here is um, every time so far we created 2 revolutions here, and these revolutions consume the sketches we generated. But every time we created a revolution, we took advantage of the axis, y axis, or z axis. We did not have to do that. You did not really have to select something that is titled as axes. You can actually select a line. So let's talk about that a little bit. Let's delete this revolution here, and let's delete this one as well. Now let's create a new sketch on XY plane. Let's draw another 2-point rectangle and then finish the sketch. So when we go to revolve, we can again select an axis, but we can select something that acts as an axis. So this line is also a linear line. I can select that and I can create the same geometry around this linear line as well. Or I can clear that selection. I can select this here and I can create the similar geometry just but using a different axis, different reference point, different center line. Or if I go to sketch here, and let's say we are deleting the sketch, and I am creating a 2-point rectangle somewhere here. I'm not starting from the origin point, and let's go back to that sketch. And I can create my own center line. I can create my own reference line. I just drew a line here, and I can call that a construction line. Now it's a construction line, and I can just finish that sketch, and I can revolve this geometry around this construction line that I created. Now we created this 3D object with a hole in the middle. Another trick is, I know that we in the past, in the previous videos, we covered the construction lines. In this case, I just converted this normal line to a construction line. I didn't have to do that. I also have center line option available to me. So let me just delete this. Actually, let's delete the revolution altogether, so we can just do it from scratch. So it's easy to follow. Let's create a new sketch on XY plane and create a 2-point rectangle right here and select OK and draw a line in the middle. And this time, select this line and right click. Instead of selecting construction, let's select center line. Notice that centerline is basically another version of a construction line. But when you click centerline, it is displayed with a different style of dotted line. And also in the software, it is coded as a center line. So when I finish the sketch and when I say revolve, it is going to not only select a profile which is the only profile that is available, sketch I created, but also it automatically recognized the center line. Because I labeled it as a center line, now Inventor understands that I want to probably use that as my axis. But of course, again, I can go back and switch this to construction line. Now it's not a center line, now it's just a construction line. Just let me remove that center line here. I can activate them both as actually, but right now it is just a construction line. Let's finish this and click on revolve. Right now it is automatically selecting the only available sketch to revolve, but it is asking me what I want to use as my center line. I can technically use this, or I can use the x-axis, y-axis, z-axis if I want to. And like I said, a lot of times you can take advantage of the x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. You can take advantage of the lines you are drawing, or you can draw your own center lines, your construction lines. You can take advantage of those linear lines to revolve around. It's all about having a sketch, adding material around an axis, a reference axis. So if we can just technically, delete all of this and draw some kind of a donut. Maybe a circle here, and then finish that sketch. But this time I want to I want to add material on this sketch, but I want to revolve it around this line. So let's click on revolve. Profile is already automatically selected. Let's select the axis as this one. So it's kind of a donut shape right now. And again, we're going to do more exercises about this. We're going to use the extrude feature, revolve feature, and we're going to discuss which one is best in certain applications and certain problems, and which one is saving us more time, which one is helping us more to be more productive. And in certain applications will require extrude, certain applications will require revolve, and you will have a much better understanding about all this. But know that they're very similar features. They just require different kinds of information, different kind of input from you. One revolves, one adds material linearly on top of a plane, and the other features are also going to be very similar. But we're going to do exercises and make sure that everybody's on the same page, just like how we're doing it with all the other videos in the tutorial. And again, I would like to thank you for everyone who's watching the videos, and please don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share, and like the videos, and let us know what you think about the tutorials. And if you have any questions or if you need any design help, don't hesitate to contact us. Email address should be in the description of the video. Thanks everyone. See you in the next videos.